It is a common assumption that religious institutions are filled with spiritual people. Such a view is largely influenced by the belief that the majority of those who serve there are serious about their commitment to serve God, and it seems only natural to presume that such individuals would be among those who are men and women after God's own heart. Yet the history of the Church will bear witness to the fact that this is often not the case. Participation in the activities and programs of a religious institution does not grant anyone immunity from the dangers of moral corruption. On the contrary, those who are constantly dealing with matters of spiritual significance can easily fall prey to spiritual pride and self-deception, because it is not difficult to develop over familiarity with things through frequency of contact and lose the awe and reverence that should accompany our dealings with God. Nor is it unheard of that those who preach or teach about spiritual or moral virtues can be tricked by their own imaginations to think that they have already attained such virtues simply because we speak of them so often. How then do those of us who are involved with religious institutions or who are active in Christian service guard against falling prey to such dangers? Well, by keeping in mind at least two things. First, the development of our spirituality requires us to give deliberate and honest attention to our interior lives. Our work in the ministry alone does not and cannot make us spiritual. It is when we pay attention to what God is saying and doing in our own lives as we work and serve Him that we become more like Him. It is a deliberate attention because we must choose to listen. In today's definition of success, sometimes we are so busy, it is possible to be busy for God, trying to discern His voice in the lives of others, that we have no time to listen to God, to speak to us personally, to know what He's saying to us in our own lives. We must want to listen. We must learn to listen and attempt to listen if we are to take the well-being of our soul seriously. In attending to God's dealings with our lives, honesty is essential. It is imperative that we are honest before God with all our fears, our motives, even our anger. And we need to open up the darkest areas of our life so that we can be helped and healed. The risk of self-deception will be reduced if we check the motivations that compel us to take certain courses of action. We may want to ask ourselves, why do I want to serve God in a particular way? Why am I making this sacrifice? Is there for me no other form in which a life of devotion can take? Am I doing this just because this is what's expected of me? We ask such questions in order to evaluate the condition of our spiritual health, lest we lose sight of our need to be in our quest to become somebody. Secondly, the path of spirituality is a lifelong journey. Every day can bring forth challenges that require us to turn away from sin and return to God. The occasions that call for us to be spiritual oftentimes slip our notice. Occasions such as the need to exercise diligence and faithfulness in our work, the need to be honest in speech and deed, and the need to be patient and loving. The opportunities for developing in spirituality are usually related to the dying of our own self, especially our own sinful nature. These are the occasions where we are called to allow God to transform us and to mold His image in us. If the ordinary events of daily life are the means that God will use to develop our spirituality, then it follows that as long as we live, the process of spiritual formation will continue. And irrespective of the amount of experience and the degree of success we have in the ministry, we must be alert to the temptations that confront us and sensitive to the need for growth in our relationship with God. Failures in whatever forms we encounter only confirm our constant need for the redemptive power of Christ and the fathomless depth of His grace. And for us who are learning to walk the way of Jesus, we must see spirituality not as the attainment of perfection, but the vigilance which we exercise over our lives so that God and not we becomes central.